If you haven't heard, cardiologist Dr. Allo recently debated psychiatrist Paul Saladino, better known as Carnivore MD, on the link between cholesterol and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. While there were many issues with claims that Saladino had made, there's one in particular I want to point out.
There is essentially no correlation between LDL and cardiovascular disease. That is a key detail that gets lost in the totality of the evidence arguments.
He claimed that LDL cholesterol does not correlate with cardiovascular disease in metabolically healthy people. In particular, he cited the Framingham cohort and pointed to those with the highest HDL cholesterol levels as possibly being a sign of greater insulin sensitivity.
Every time we look at this, we see this. If you stratify the relationship between LDL and cardiovascular disease by any metric that reflects insulin sensitivity, you see this exact pattern, that LDL is no longer correlated with cardiovascular disease.
But he's actually misreading his own source. Higher LDL cholesterol was associated with greater risk even in the group he considered metabolically healthy. In fact, those with the highest levels had over double the risk of developing coronary artery disease compared to those with lower levels. And it's pretty clear that as you go from left to right, it does increase, just less so than people who likely have other issues like insulin resistance, making this line look flatter in comparison. So I suspect the reason he's suggesting there's no association here is that he didn't actually read the graph. He just took a quick glance at it, saw that the line looked flatter, and thought, well, hey, there's no risk. And I don't think anyone, including him, would actually write off a doubling in risk of a leading killer as a non-issue. However, I would agree that other risk factors are also important, and if you stack risk factors on top of each other, risk just escalates, which is why doctors treat more than just LDL.